Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regularly Scheduled Meeting for Tuesday, February the 18th. As a courtesy to all, if you would please silence your phones, put them on vibrate. It'd be greatly appreciated. For the record, any writings or documents provided to a majority of the City Council regarding any items on this agenda are made available for public inspection in the lobby at Taft City Hall, 209 East Kearns Street, Taft, California, during normal business hours, courtesy of Senate Bill 343. We're going to begin this evening's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to lead us in that Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation by Bob Jordan. So if you would stand, please, and join me. Hand over your heart, salute, and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we do thank you for this time together. We ask you to bless every soul within this building, from the bottom of their feet to the top of their heads. May we all agree that this is a great city to be from, a great state, and a great country. Father, we ask your blessings upon every single council member, upon the finances of the city of Taft, and on our individual health. In the name and through the power of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Bob. Madam Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor North.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Here.
Councilmember Evelyn.
Here.
Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
And we have Councilmember Bryant absent with notice.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to begin this evening's meeting. We have a bit of a change in our agenda, so we're going to retire to closed session temporarily. Appreciate everybody sticking around. Look forward to seeing you in a little bit. We'll be going into closed session. Oh, I'm sorry, under potential litigation, for the record. One item. Okay. We're going to reconvene our regular session. Welcome back, everybody. All right, first up, item number 1, public hearing on costs and placement of liens on abated properties. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. The properties at 313 Kearns Street with an abatement cost of $406.80, and property at 105 North Street with an abatement cost of $568.80. The owners of record have been notified by certified mail and by posting said property in accordance with City of Taft Municipal Code of costs incurred during the abatement process. The owners were also notified of the time and place of the public hearing on costs where hereby council will hear any objections or protests from the property owners or any other interested parties. Cost of the abatement and submitted or modified for the property listed here not paid within 5 days from the date of confirmation. The confirmed statements of expense shall constitute a lien against properties and shall all such costs to be made personal obligation against the property owner pursuant to section 38773 of the California Government Code and Taft Municipal Code section 3-4.5-5-C and D.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, at this time, I will open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak in support of this action, please step forward. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition of these actions, please step forward. Step up the mic, sir. State your name and address for the record, please.
Larry Stieber, 313 Kearns Street. My opposition, I sent you guys a letter, laying out the facts of what's going on here. I was told by Jill Gibson that as long as the yard was cleaned up, there would be no cost for the abatement. I'm willing to pay the charges for the warrant, but that's as far as I'm willing to go because, we took care of it ourselves. And I do have plans on putting a fence in the back, and I've told my son, this has got to stop. Doing the business in the front yard, you're going to have to go in the backyard. So I'm going to have to put a lock on the front gate. And you guys are going to have to help me with this thing. You're going to have to do something with it because I can't handle him anymore. I'm at that point that I've told him, you guys don't want that crap done in the front yard. So my hands, I'm putting the lock on the fence tonight because he's whatever had cost or incurred, he's paying for it out of his pocket. So you take it or leave it, but Jill Gibson said she was supposed to be here tonight, and I don't see her, but she was supposed to be here because she told me that out there, and he was there as a witness. She said there would be no charges if they didn't have to. If they just showed up and cleaned up, they would dismiss the charges. And now when I confronted her on it again, she says, "Oh, I didn't say that," but she did.
All right.
And she's not here to verify that what she said or not. And I was told that she would be here.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
It's an unfortunate reality that within this municipality, as well as any other municipality, we have to deal with these issues on a day-to-day basis. It's also an unfortunate reality that there are costs incurred by the people, the taxpayers, for services rendered in order to prepare for these things. That time was incurred. Those costs were incurred. And because of that, sir, you were billed those costs. And the documentation here to support that. So thank you very much.
And there was no cleanup of that. We took care of it ourselves.
Thank you. All right, at this
We're
time,
going to make it rude.
I'm sorry.
You need to close your public hearing.
Oh, yes. Yes, I am. Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing. At this time, I would entertain two motions. We needn't do these separately. First, a motion to adopt resolutions entitled Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft approving and confirming the cost for the abatement of the nuisance at 313 Kern Street, Taft, California, APN number 031-100-07-6, in the amount of $406.80. I would also entertain a motion to adopt a resolution entitled A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft approving and confirming the cost for the abatement of the nuisance at 105 North Street, Taft, California, APN number 031-440-16-7, in the amount of $568.80.
Motion.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any additional discussion?
A question I would have as being is that if he did all the work, the $339, that still be included in that if he did all the work, all the abatement, or that still be included?
That is the cost of the time incurred to prepare for.
Prepare for it, and then so the cost of abating it is not on here yet.
That's correct.
I have to give gentlemen credit for showing up. Not very often they come out here and talk about their issues and stuff. And thank you for coming and explaining your side. That's all I have to say, Mayor.
All right. Any other comments, gentlemen? I have a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have a comment, sir?
Yeah, I think I will make a comment.
Okay.
We've been dealing with 313 Kern Street since before I was the police chief in 2012. And this has been a long time coming. The fact is that he cleaned it up himself means that we've been after him for a long time to get it done. And if this is the cost that it gets to get him to actually get it done, I think he's getting off light. But that's just my comment.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Finally, I will say that it was cleaned up. However, it is continuing down that path again. Current photographs and the current state of that property is that it's going back to the same way. Obviously, you're here and you understand that that is a problem. So it is incumbent upon you, sir, to see to your property. It is not incumbent upon city staff nor law enforcement. We hope that you can see to that. I have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
And Mayor Knorr.
Yes. Now pass on a 4-0 vote. Thank you very much. Next up, item number 2, public hearing, local early action planning LEAP grants program. City Manager Joe.
Thank you, Mayor. Planning Director Mark Staples will present the details of the Early Action Planning Grant Program and possible projects that the city could qualify for.
Thank you very much. Projector's warming up, Mark.
warmed up fast this time. All right, thank you, Mayor Noor, members of the City Council, Mark Staples, Planning Director for the city. Before you is a quick overview of the latest planning grants program that the state is rolling out. If you recall, early last summer, we went over a program called the SB2 Planning Grants, and basically what it is the state is trying to help fund planning activities that will accelerate housing production. And SB2 was the first grant program, and now this local early action planning grants is the second round. The program was approved in 2019 as part of Assembly Bill 101. In contrast to the SB2 grant, that was approved back in 2017, one of Governor Brown's last signatures for housing, to help housing production. It added some sections to the government code. In the larger paragraph here, as you see, it provides funding to jurisdictions preparing and adopting planning documents, as I've stated, and to help compliance in the next cycle of the regional housing needs assessment. For that term, you have to go all the way back to when we completed the housing element in 2015. It's the estimate that the state and then down into our COGS make for each region's housing need for that area. And our last go around, our arena number was 254 units, which we've built about 50 so far, mostly between Sandy Creek Estates and a couple of houses on Amber Street near South Taft. The funding is about $123 million available, administered through the Housing Community Development Department with the state. Basic timeline for this: the notice of funding availability was released in January. The application webinar has not occurred despite the date of February 14th. And only 3 or 4 workshops have been scheduled thus far. I'm anticipating the one for our region to be sometime in March. I'm trying to get ahead of this because they claim these are over-the-counter applications. The last time we did this for Senate Bill 2, we applied in August and got our approval in November, so that's the speed of over-the-counter. Actually, not too bad. 3 months isn't actually too bad for HCD. But the applications are due by July 1st. Hopefully, if we keep ahead of this, we can apply early enough for one of the early cities to get awarded. Minimum grant is $25,000. Maximum for our size of city is $65,000. And it looks like the funding is geared towards us getting the maximum, so long as we hit all the bullet points for a project that qualifies. And then this go around, the larger cities get anywhere from $150,000 to $1.5 million, whereas the last time the largest award net was $660,000.
I have a question for you, Mark.
Yes.
I read in there that if municipalities can actually join with and submit applications along with special districts, along with counties. Is there any benefit to the city of Taft to submit it along with Kern County such that it would help us with Ford City, South Taft, Taft Heights? Or should that be done completely independent?
It doesn't get you any more dollars or points on a scoring scale. So the only benefit would be if maybe we had land and the county had land that was adjoining at the city boundary with each of the 3 neighborhoods. Then a project, a group project where it straddles both agencies probably could qualify. But the joining, unlike some other grant applications that our city clerk has processed, partnerships and probably even some road projects, partnerships with county agencies, schools. They like to see a cooperation between different agencies when you submit. On this one, they're really pushing the cities moving on their projects, fulfilling programs that are listed out on their housing elements, or finding additional projects that maybe they didn't have housing funding for, which we have some funding towards our downtown specific plan, but that 160 that we've been awarded by the state definitely makes it that much more advantageous project, probably more public meetings, so the residents of Taft can provide their input on what they're looking for the downtown area. And then we have this additional 65 that we're pretty much earmarked for, so long as we have a project that fits within the eligible activities. And then, as with the prior project, which had a end date, I believe, of June 2022, this one, the project would need to be completed by December of 2023. So the eligible applicants, it's just cities and counties. There, in this go-around, there isn't any kind of project that applies to other governmental agencies. But as you mentioned, it can partner with other regional governments. They're encouraged, but they're not required as part of the application approval. And even when you do partner up, you submit separate applications.
That's it.
So this is all the bullet points that are in the notice of funding availability that's in your agenda packet. As with the SB2, amendments to zoning codes, general plans, community plans, specific plans, and other plans, completing environmental review that eliminates the need for project-specific review, housing incentives, infrastructure planning, not the construction, but the planning. Planning documents promote development of publicly owned land, speeding up local planning processes. That was in SB2 as well. The state's really pushing this accessory dwelling unit application processes being easier and easier to develop on existing single-family and multifamily properties. Rezoning that's required as part of housing elements that cities haven't complied with yet. Upzoning if an area has low density. And the only one that doesn't have a lot of information for, similar to LEAP, there's a REAP, but there's no information at the state yet of what constitutes REAP. I've checked with all of my contacts on that, but that's something that isn't well defined yet. And then also the last one here, establishing pro-housing policies, that's not quite established as well. Let's see here. Well, here's some of the policies, but they haven't fully adopted any of this here yet. Make sure I'm not going too far.
Is it absolutely necessary that all this money be spent on strictly housing? I know when we were talking about some of the planning for the rails to trails, there was commercial retail downstairs, residential occupations upstairs.
Right.
Could you use some of this for that, along with some of the planning studies necessary for that?
Because we haven't had the workshops yet, I can't fully answer that question yet. The last go around, they said, what's understood with some specific plans and general plans might involve some rezoning of commercial areas or changes there as part of it, which they were okay with as long as the overall goal accelerated the housing production. I'm sure there will be a similar statement towards this one as well, but I haven't gotten that for certain yet since we haven't had the workshop. The SB2 process included some free technical assistance. There was about 16 or so consulting individuals or groups that were spread out throughout the region of the state, and our Central Valley consultant was very good in responding to questions and was able to answer that. We had our workshop at the Kerncog offices shortly after that, NOFA, but we haven't had ours scheduled yet.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see what they say about that.
Yes. So the eligible, ineligible, the top four of the eligible uses, and bottom are not. This is more about who you can utilize: temporary staffing, consultants, subcontractors. The activities that have happened since the NOFA date, because sometimes they let you know before they even release it that something's coming. So any work before that, and you try to document it and get the 5% of admin costs back, you cannot. It's only since the NOFA was released. So it's pretty straightforward on that. Application requirements like last time: setting a budget, timelines, deliverables, being specific on what the adoption is. They really pushed on, the statement on last time was adopting the resolution and ordinances that would adopt the specific plan, which is technically a general plan amendment, so that's a resolution. Any changes to the zoning code, that's the ordinance. So you have to be very specific on the adoption, demonstrate how it will increase housing, planning, and accelerate the local production. and then demonstrate the significant positive effect on accelerating housing production. So these next two slides are the same slides as before of what the eligible projects are. I've highlighted in red and bolded them. What I think are, we could probably hit all of them in a singular project. But as I say in the first bullet there, if perhaps we can combine the efforts with the SB2 grant monies to make the project that much more substantial. And what I think could happen is that the SB2 grant is specific to the downtown specific plan, but why not echo some of the standards, development guidelines, whatever it may be, to be citywide? So the leap could be more of change sections of the zoning code to echo some of the things that we've applied downtown, so that's not just downtown that gets the benefit of these grants.
Well, after all, what it says right there in red, completing environmental clearance to eliminate the need for project-specific review.
They're basically wanted objective standards to hit, design, layout, setbacks, height, architectural styles, and then they could go straight some administrative, more ministerial type approval, and they could go as quickly to permit as they can. So the SB2 is going to be interesting, kind of lead for all this, and all 400 plus cities and 50 plus counties are in on this, so it's going to be interesting what comes out of it. Usually not every jurisdiction in the state is doing something of this level, so it'll be a real interesting result what comes out of it, how taxed the consultants are that get brought into these projects. Some of the other ones are revamping our local processes, so applications that's different from other general applications, fee structures, again, the accessory dwelling unit ordinance changes, pre-approved architectural or site plans. Once we get the information on the REIT, how we roll that in. The by right supportive housing, I thought some of our emergency shelter changes we did complies with that, but maybe some jurisdictions haven't done it yet. That one and the special needs, those are probably going to be some points that the state's going to hit for more ADA accessibility, or at least making it easier for folks to modify a residence to help those for supportive housing and those with special needs. And then the bottom more with environmental hazard assessments, again, process improvements that demonstrate the increase in housing production, and then those pro-housing policies. So this is all of it combined, but I think a zoning ordinance amendment that reflects a lot of the changes that come through the downtown specific plan, but can be applied citywide so that anybody with any lot in any part of the city would benefit with similar quicker, more efficient planning processes, fees, more assured development processes, and what they can put in there, especially when it comes to housing. As I mentioned many times already, it's similar to the SB2 process for the review and the award. It is not a competitive process. Essentially, the funds available account for everybody getting the max award. It's an over-the-counter basis, so whenever we submit, we could probably start the clock for the 90 days or so like it did last time to get the letter for award. Even though we got that in November, we just got the agreement that we have to sign and send back to the state this month. So there was another 2+ months of getting that before you could really move forward on the project. And as I mentioned, applications are due by July 1st of this year. And then the awarded funds and project expenditures need to be completed by end of 2023. We still have another meeting to move forward with the project. You'll have a resolution that gives the authority to the city manager to sign on this application once we have the project identified, and we'll be coming back with that so we have a more solidified idea of what our project is. I was getting ahead on the next steps. Public hearing today on February 18th. Our Economic Development Committee will discuss this further on Thursday afternoon. As I mentioned, the application workshop is still to be determined. Hoping to have another public hearing to adopt that resolution sometime next month, and then move forward that. I was hoping we could have a March 3rd meeting. So it's going to be after whatever date we have that adopts the resolution will be sent to the state, hopefully by early April. And then after we get the award, we'd go to the RFP process to get the consultant to assist us on both the SB2 project and then a LEAP project. Anyone who's curious about the project, sorry I didn't say it at the beginning, I do have copies of the slides up front. Feel free to take a copy. If you have any input, feel free to come up after I'm done with this presentation, but please just provide your name on the sign-in sheet next to the laptop. And then questions or comments.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mark. So, questions or comments? Gentlemen, I'll start with you, Councilman White.
I do. I see that you only are allowed 5% for administrative costs. And if I understand how the city of Taft works, and I think I have a general idea, you're going to be spearheading this rascal, and you're going to have to put in a lot of extra time. And if I understand grants, and I'm fairly certain I do, you'll have to track those costs that you put in order to justify that 5%. But since the maximum grant is $65,000 for a small city and only $25,000 for a minimum grant, is this cost effective to do this, to help do the things that you're outlining here?
I believe it is. Having completed other projects, I think that would cover plenty of my time. There's other grant projects where, yeah, there's some admin cost allowances, but sometimes our time exceeds that. So we can max out the 5%, but all the time beyond that is just to get the project completed and to the point where what you adopt as a project to proceed on, that's what we're going towards, whether it's utilizing the full 5% or it might exceed that.
So you think it's a worthwhile project?
I do believe so. The benefit with this is with any of these consulting teams, they'll have more than one person that can complete the project. They would assist me on the fun but sometimes difficult part of the project, which is getting the public to give us the information of what they see Taft becoming citywide, downtown specific, and otherwise. When we went through the housing element process, I had 3 public meetings. I think I had a total of 10 people show up. Did an online survey monkey, got 120 responses. So, they will help solicit that, which, I have some experience in it, but not the best, and it's only me. I have some assistants here at City Hall, but getting a consultant on board to do a lot of that legwork would definitely help me out and help our department out.
You're going to be busy, that's for sure.
Yeah, it'll be
Thank
fun.
you. Thank you very much.
Hopefully. Councilman
He
Lehman?
just answered my question right at the end.
Okay.
So we're good.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. The 65,000 stays in the city limits of the city
Yes,
of Taft.
just city.
Another question I have for you, the county is on board on it too? We're doing it?
Yeah, their community development department, I believe, is who covers their grants at the population level of the county. They're probably at least at that $150,000 amount, if not more. But they have the whole county to accommodate. And as far as I know, the district supervisors always are divvying up the amount of grant funds that are available for various projects. So, they could get it, and it all goes to District 2, but it might get applied in Mojave or Rosamond, so you just never know.
So with our city limit thing, with the other 3 communities around Taft, they have opportunity to get with our supervisor to apply for the grants. Now, would they administer it or themselves? They go to the county to get the permits or go get the application and stuff to apply for it?
Well, that community development department under Lorelei Oviatt, it's the best way I can demonstrate the umbrella.
Yeah.
Because she oversees planning, community, and I forgot what the other department is, but that department would apply for the grant. I'm not sure what the dollar amount is, but like I said, it's county's so vast, so wide, 5 districts, 24 unique communities. So how they divvy that up, even though they might be available or eligible for maybe upwards of $500,000, split that 5 ways, it narrows back down to 100, and how they utilize that, I'm not sure. They could invest it all in as part of the Metro Bakersfield general plan, or what plan they have with the city. There's a joint plan for that. They could put it all towards that if they want. It's up to those supervisors to figure out how that money is applied for and then distributed based on the project they select.
Is
for
a
projects.
reoccurring or a one-time deal?
It's one time, but it looks like there's some other grants that are coming down the pipeline. It's not for certain, but I think one way that this is being funded is if anybody's sold property in the last couple of years, the extra is $75 per page of the recorded document that you've paid. So if you've sold property 10 years ago, you paid dollars on the recordation, but now you pay like an extra $220 on it. That's a new fee that's been in effect for 2 years now. So I think that's funding it. So I guess as long as that's in place and properties keep changing hands and those monies are collected, it's almost a revolving fund from that.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
For the record, Mark, I was reading through here because I remember looking at the chart. 300,000 to 749,999 people has a maximum award of 750,000. If it exceeds, if the overall population of Kern County exceeds 750,000 people, then the maximum award is $1.5 million.
I'm thinking it's probably just the unincorporated population, which I think is 180 to 200,000 people. So they fit in that middle category of 500,000.
It's about $500,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't get the whole 800 some odd thousand that includes Bakersfield and the rest of us. I would think, but that's for them to figure out with the state.
All right, very good. So I was thinking it would far surpass the 150,000 because, like
Yes.
you say, the land mass goes on forever.
Yes.
There's a lot of people out there. So. All right, very good then. Recommended action is conduct a public hearing and then City Council direct staff on the identified project to apply for the local early action planning grants program. At this time, I will open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak in support of this, please step forward. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition of this, please step forward. Okay, hearing none. I'm going to close the public hearing.
And one more thing, I'll accept any comments up until the time we apply.
All right,
So
very
member of the
good.
public that wants to talk to me about it,
And like you said, the public's free to come grab a hold of one of those documents right there, which has that entire slideshow, and
Yes, sir.
help them not only understand this, but perhaps formulate questions which they can get with you, and you'd be happy to answer those questions.
yes.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate
you.
that. So the City Council is to direct staff on the identified project to apply for the local early action planning grants program. It would appear, after having listened to the discussion that Mark has, that I myself am inclined to ask that they move forward with this. So I would ask each council member if they concur with that.
I concur.
I concur.
All right. I do believe then you have your direction.
Yes.
Move
And-
forward at your earliest convenience.
And those sitting on the Economic Development Committee, we'll see you Thursday.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, Mark. All right, next up, item number 3, public hearing appeal of Planning Commission approval of site plan review number 2019-21. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. On January 8th, 2020, the City of Taft Planning Commission adopted a resolution number 2020-01 approving site plan number 2019-21, a proposal for the construction of an approximate 18,000 square foot grocery outlet retail store and a future pad located on a 3.13 acre lot. In approving site plan review number 2019-21, the Planning Commission found the project was exempt from California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to a Class 32 categorical exemption for an infill development project. On January 17, 2020, Tal Finney of Finney Arnold LLP, representing Keep Taft Great, submitted an appeal to the Taft City Council of the Planning Commission's approval of site plan number 2019-21. Keep Taft Great's appeal asserts that the Planning Commission's finding the project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to Section 15332 of the Class 32 categoric exemption of the CEQA guidelines was an error, and the Planning Commission's approval of the project without requiring the full environmental review mandated by CEQA, resulting in a violation of CEQA.
Thank you very much. Recommended action is, after reviewing the appeal of Keep Taft Great and consulting with council, it is recommended that the City Council conduct a public hearing and then adopt a proposed resolution granting the appeals entitled. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and open said public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition to this issue, please step forward. Anybody wishing to speak in support of this, please step forward. You state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Sean Arnold of Finney Arnold, 633 West 5th Street, 28th floor, Los Angeles, California, 90071. That having been said, my family has lived in Kern County for 15 years. I lived here for 10 years myself, so I'm quite familiar with the local community.
Lived here in Kern County, ma'am?
Yes,
Okay,
in Kern County. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, honorable members of the City Council, City Manager, City Clerk, thank you very much for your time this evening. Petitioner is an unincorporated association of individuals that will be adversely affected by the potential traffic, air quality, soil quality, groundwater quality, noise, public health, and safety hazards imposed by the project. Petitioner includes individuals and their families who live and work in Taft. Because they are local residents, the individual members of Petitioner would be directly affected by the traffic, noise, air quality, soil quality, groundwater quality, health, safety, and other negative impacts created by the project. Individual members of Keep Taft Great may also work on the project itself. As such, they would be first in line to be exposed to any health and safety hazards that exist at the project site. The agenda and staff report that supported the original approval of 2019-21, dated as of January 8, was submitted to the Planning Commission in support of the project, and it stated that the project is eligible for a Class 32 exemption against further technical studies such as traffic, based on the project's status as an infill development. This standard is improperly applied. Petitioner has commissioned a traffic report on the project by KOA, and we provided that report in a supplemental filing on our appeal. A look at Table 1 of that report, which appears on page 1 of the traffic report, provides a trip generation estimate for the proposed project using trip rates defined by Chip Generation, the 10th edition, published by the Institute of Transportation Engineers. The project could generate as many as 2,081 daily vehicle trips, a total of inbound and outbound trips, including 73 AM peak hour trips and 182 PM peak hour trips. A proper traffic study for the project should be considered based on these trip generation totals. Most generations, depending upon adopted policies, require traffic studies of projects when trips exceed 500 daily trips or 50 peak hour trips. All of these typical thresholds would be exceeded by the proposed project. The Class 32 exemption does not allow for a review of potential impacts of the project. Therefore, its use is improper. Now, Taft Areas 1, the rails to trail section of the city's planned development area, has approximately 26 acres of vacant land that could cumulatively have significant impacts on the area's roadway infrastructure. While the project itself consists of 3.13 acres, the additional 6 or more other projects that could be built in the area all exist in an area that is less than 1 mile across, and that cumulatively greatly exceed the 5-acre limit on Class 32 exemptions. It is not permissible for the city to provide these exemptions in a piecemeal fashion that shuts the public out of the project review process. The city-produced graphic that illustrates the locations of these additional proposed developments was provided in Attachment A to our traffic study. This map shows the additional projects that may be brought online. Collectively, they represent a significant danger of project creep, which must invalidate the proposed Class 32 exemption based on the true size of the city's long-term development goals. So
Now,
members
just,
of...
just so you know, you got about 1 minute left.
Thank you so much. The environmental impacts have not been properly tested either. Petitioner has also commissioned an environmental review of the project by SWAPE, which we also provided in our supplement to our appeal. The environmental report concludes that the staff report failed to adequately evaluate the project's air quality, health risk, and greenhouse gas impacts. As a result, emissions and health risk impacts associated with the construction and operation of the proposed project are underestimated and inadequately addressed. The environmental report's analysis demonstrates that there are potentially significant impacts that were not evaluated in the staff reports and the prior environmental documents that were generated for the project. As a result of the environmental report's findings, the proposed project does not qualify for a Class 32 exemption under CEQA. Therefore, a full CEQA analysis must be prepared to adequately assess and mitigate the potential health risk impacts that the project may have on the surrounding environment. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
All right. Thanks for coming and speaking to the council. Thank you very much. Okay, that was Sean, I believe, Bobby Moore. Is there a Bobby Moore wishing to speak to the council? For the record, you're on citizens request public comments, just so I know. When we get to that part of our agenda, your speaking regarding this issue was exactly what you wanted to do during public comments. Is that correct?
That's correct.
For the both of you?
Okay, yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Okay. I provided a letter when I got here that you all should have.
Okay, I'm sorry, ma'am, your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Bobby Moore, and I'm from UFCW 8. And I'm located in Bakersfield at 1910 Mineral Court, 93308.
All right, thank you.
And I am here to read a statement, and that is all I am authorized to do. So I'm going to read the letter that I gave you as I walked in. To the Honorable Taft City Council, on behalf of UFCW 8, which proudly represents over 30,000 hardworking union members throughout Northern and Central California, including members here in Taft and in Bakersfield area. We have strong concerns about the proposed grocery outlet on Supply Row in the city of Taft and are opposed to the Planning Commission's approval of the site plan review number 2019-21 due to the negative impact it will have on our members and existing businesses in your community that provide livable wages and benefits to their employees. The proposed grocery outlet is a national discount grocery chain that does not provide most of their employees with the dignity of a livable, good wages and affordable medical benefits, and does not live up to the industry standards. Our mission is in part to ensure that working families have the opportunity to make good wages and benefits, and that they can use to support their families and grow within the communities where they live. Not only will this make it harder for other businesses to do, in fact, provide good wages and benefits in your community to compete with cheap labor, it also likely will result in the loss of these better paying positions for our members in your community. A net loss of these better paying positions for our members will also directly impact other businesses in your community who benefit from the money that our members who live here and put back into the community. We understand and respect that the City Council is a difficult position, but we hope that you will at least consider the bigger and longer term impact that this proposed grocery outlet will have on our members and your existing businesses in the area. We urge you to require a full and comprehensive economic impact analysis for this proposed development before it is approved, so that the council and the public will at least know the true impact that the project will have on your community. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Moore. And we do, gentlemen, you all have that letter. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, very good. Anybody else wishing to speak either in support or opposition to this project? All right, hearing none, I will say before we go any further that just before we came here, we received another packet of documents. It's not a letter. It's approximately, 25, 30 pages regarding this issue. And we received it because yesterday was a holiday today. I myself have not had time, having just received this, to look this whole thing over and consider the information that has been provided. I don't think the rest of you have either.
Nope.
Because of that, in order to make a true accounting of what is provided, that's going to take a little bit of time which we did not have between when we were provided this information and the opening of the city council meeting. Therefore, I would request that we consider continuing this matter to the next city council meeting. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to continue this matter, as well as leaving the public comments period open just in case anybody else would like to comment on this while we do our research. Gentlemen?
Make that motion.
And second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion regarding this?
None.
I have a motion and a second on a motion to continue. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant, absent.
Absent.
Councilmember Evelyn,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Nor.
Yes. Thank you very much. So, to clarify, this will be continued to the next meeting. The public comments period will remain open. All right, next up, item number 4, citizen request public comments. This is the time and place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. First up, Bob Jordan. Bob had to leave. All right. Well, then we're going to go directly to Dr. Kathy Oren of the Taft Chamber of Commerce.
Drop it a few hundred decibel.
Please close that door. Thank you. Dr. Oren.
Well, I've never had that kind of reaction to my remarks, so I'm...
Well, they're the ones missing out.
Well, good evening. I'm here to invite you, the folks here, as well as the City Council and staff, to the installation and award ceremony put on by the Chamber of Commerce every year. It will be happening this year on Saturday, February 29th at 6 p.m. in the El Dorado room of the Transit Center. And we thank the city for allowing us to be there. We are not going to have dinner. We're going to have heavy hors d'oeuvres. We found out when we have dinner.
That's a fancy word for hot dog.
No,
like
it isn't.
Miniature lobster tails and filet kebabs and all that kind of light, heavy stuff.
So talk about
It's a way of moving things along. We find that people like hors d'oeuvres because they don't have to sit and talk to people. They can stand and talk to people. So there you go. But I would like to tell you who are the people that are being honored. We honor our community leaders every year, and this year I'm going to start with the Youth Leadership Award. It's going to Will Moore, Sierra Pilgrim, and Michael White. And I have to tell you, I had breakfast with those young people on Saturday, and it was absolutely delightful. It warms your heart to spend some time with great kids that are giving back to their community at such a young age. So the Community Service Award will be going to Sergeant Corey Bilby of the Taft Police Department. The Volunteer Award will be going to Gary Summers, who is your host at the American Legion. The Business of the Year is Best Western, and they have been wonderful. We will be honoring them for the service they do for our community. Kevin Patel will be honored especially. And the best new business honored this time will be Rejuve MB Beauty, who is owned and operated by Monet Burke. The Businesswoman of the Year will be Virgie Beard of GPS, she was just flabbergasted when I called her. She is a doll. So it's wonderful.
Indeed.
And the Businessman of the Year is none other than our mayor, Dave Knorr of Huddleston Crane. So, yes, I think.
Humbly accepted. Very kind. Thank you all very much. It's very kind.
This, of course, goes in. We're having to get in line to honor Mayor Knorr this month, but we're willing to do that. So we thank you. I also would like to remind you that in a month, the Taft Union High School Hall of Fame is going to be honoring 4 new inductees into the Hall of Fame. Ken Sorensen, class of 1955, Charlie Dodson, class of 1962, Randy Miller, a former councilman, former mayor, class of 1963, and William Bruce Bannert, class of 1972. And just like in previous years, these are outstanding folks, and you'll learn about them. Just an amazing group. And that will be happening, oh dear, I have to remember. It is March 28th at the Mullen Gym at the high school, and it will be a wonderful time as well. So I want to thank you for the time to speak before you. I encourage everyone to be at these wonderful community honoring kinds of things. It makes us very proud. Thank you.
Thank you as always, Kathy. Thank you very much. And like you say, we will be at the beautiful Oil Dorado room, your Oil Dorado room. By the way, people of the city of Taft, it's yours. Take pride in it and utilize it. Absolutely, be a part of it. Thank you very much, Kathy. Next up, I have Sherry Reitmer. Okay, thank you very much. With Share On Corp.
That's right. And also Labors of the Harvest. Congratulations, Mayor, and hi to council members and also our citizens here. So just wanted to say thank you for all that you do in our city, and we love our city. This is our group here. They're all volunteers. They are amazing. They run the show. They do all the work. They do all the cooking. So I'm actually here to invite everyone over for dinner every night, 5:30 to 6:30, prepared by moi, with their food handlers permits, and 7 more signed up at the Kern Adult Education as well. We also have a new program. It's an opioid program that's just started, and we partnered up with Dr. Jasmine Baines, and so that's free to anybody that would like to be part of that. We've also partnered up with CCS Mental Health, and they have an outpatient drug rehab. So we offer NA and AA programs, and so we're all working together here for all of this. Our very group, in honor of Valentine's Day, made this for you guys.
Well, that was very nice. Thank you all. That's very kind. Thank you. Now.
And we went from peanut butter and jelly sandwiches 3 years ago. And as of October 1st, I became the executive director of not just Sharon Corporation, but also Labors of the Harvest, because our wonderful Mike Long retired. Something about being 84, wanting to be with his family and stuff. So anyway, we have gone from peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in 3 years to now gathering, gleaning, warehousing, inventorying, preparing, cooking, and distributing almost 50,000 pounds of food per month. And that is for our very own Taft community. And that's open for everybody. You do not have to be poor. We love everybody all coming together. And so no one needs to go hungry, and just come and socialize. And I'm telling you, these guys run it, all of it. And we have a lot more. We have a whole lot more. Anyway, just wanted to invite you to come and be part of us every night. And whoever wants to come by and just say hi, please come along and do that. So, and if we can do anything for you guys too, let me know. So we also kind of went out and cleaned a couple of alleys for Valentine's and also Random Acts of Kindness Week downtown this last Monday and Wednesday. And that was, our group chose to do that. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming before the council. 50,000 pounds a month? Is that what you said?
That's right.
Heavens to Betsy. That is a lot of food.
That would have ended up in the trash, by the way, in our landfills, rather than in people's homes and in their bodies. So, yeah.
Well, thank you all. Thank you for your dedication, your service. Thank you for our lovely gift as well. Thank you now. Okay, that is the last of our public comments. Okay, next up, council statements, non-action. Councilman Whiting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing tonight.
All right. Well then, Councilman Ewood.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing tonight.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Marshall Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been watching Sharon Foundation, what they've been doing. When they first started, there was a lot of issues and stuff and a lot of problems. And it seems like they got pretty much squared away a little bit, so it's starting to run a little more smoother. I hadn't heard too much problem, but like anything else, there are always issues. But they do volunteer at no cost to the city or anybody, helping clean the alleys and the roads and stuff. And they're trying on their best. They all have issues among themselves, but she seems like she's trying to help make them be part of society, trying to help out and offer different programs and stuff. I just want to give a shout out to Sharon for what she's trying to do. It's an uphill battle, and I really appreciate it. I attended the West Kern Oil Museum, and we had Shannon Grove as our guest speaker. And she did a wonderful job speaking. I think he was very proud to hear what she had to say about the state and the issues that we have to all face with the oil industry and the farming industry and everything in between. And she gave a good talk about it, and I think she was everybody was very happy what she had to say. I mean, I agree with our governor, but you know, it was interesting. But another thing too I want to say before I finish up is that on February 27th, the fort is having a spaghetti and dinner and a dessert auction, and it's a fundraiser for the fort to help pay for the employees and help maintain and keep the fort in repairs. We work on them and everything. And if anybody would like to come, it costs $15. But if you bring a dessert, it's free to come in because we'll auction off the dessert. It could be cupcakes or pies or cakes or whatever you want to bring. But one dessert, and you're welcome. It's free admission, and we'll auction off, make some money on it. And that's all I have to say, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, you bet. So if you bring sea salt caramel gelato, you get in for free?
You may, yeah.
I know somebody who likes that. Yeah. I just wanted to throw that out there just in case anybody's curious.
We've had dessert booked for almost $1,000 just for one cake.
Holy moly, that must have been a good cake.
We were very happy with it.
Yeah.
What time does it start? What's the start time at the fort?
I believe it starts at 5, I believe.
I have an invitation at the office, but I don't recall the start time. Yeah. I went to it last year, and it was an awful lot of fun. It's a great social event. That's the amazing thing about there's so many different things going on within the community, and you can't make them all, but make a couple of them. It's a lot of fun. You get to see a lot of nice people. That's one of the great things about living in the city of Taft, and always good home-cooked food as well. So I'll bet you I'll make it.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Thank you very much, sir. And that's my comments for this evening. Next up, Planning Commission report. Do we have a Planning Commission report? I believe we do.
You do. Just a brief report. Planning Commission met earlier this month and reviewed 2 ordinance amendments. Both of them were done as informational-only items, and they're the result of changes both to state and county rules regarding massage therapy. So we need some changes both in terminology and aligning our health and safety ordinances with the county so that the county who does the enforcement on health issues is able to enforce it without any kind of conflict. That'll be
good
coming
sense.
back to us, I don't know, maybe next month or the month after. It depends on what else we have on our agenda next month. So that's it, folks. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming for us. Department reports. We have any department reports this evening? Seeing none. City manager statement. City manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. No comments.
All right. City attorney statements. Ha! Okay, thank you.
That was coming.
Future agenda requests. Any future agenda requests this evening? None? All right then. Next up, consent calendar items 11 through 16. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? Seeing none, those items are item number 11, which was the minutes from the February 4th, 2020 regularly scheduled meeting. Item number 12, payment of bills, some $360,000 worth. Item 13, accept bid and award agreement in the amount of $7,150 to NSM Recycling, Inc. for the demolition at 157 Center Street. Recommendation there being a motion to accept the bid in the amount of $7,150 from NSM Recycling, Incorporated, and approve entering into an agreement for same. Item 14 is fiscal year 2019-2020 FTA Section 5311 application. The recommendation is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing the federal funding under FTA Section 5311, 49 U.S.C. Section 5311, with California Department of Transportation. Item number 15, Taft Chamber of Commerce fee waiver request for the Oil Dorado Room installation and community awards. Recommendation there is a motion to approve the waiver of fees in the use of the Oil Dorado Room on February 29, 2020 for the Taft Chamber of Commerce annual installation and community awards celebration, which Dr. Oren told us all about. And finally, item 16, finance staff to attend Tyler Muniz 2020 annual training in Orlando, Florida, held on April 25th, 29th, 2020. Recommendation is a motion to approve the out-of-state travel for finance staff to attend Tyler Connect 2020 training in Orlando, Florida. Does any member of the council wish to remove any of these items from the consent calendar? Hearing none, at this time I would entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 11 through 16.
Motion. Second.
A motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Yes.
Councilmember Cleveland.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitey.
Yes.
And Mayor Moore.
Yes, and it's approved on a 4-0 vote. Thank you very much. At this time, we're going into closed session, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, government code section 54956.9B, 2 potential cases, conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, city manager, government code section 54957.6, all units. Thank you all for being a part of this. Good evening.